Hello everyone. This video is going to go over question 1 and question 2 from the quadratics quiz on factoring and graphing from Friday. Now we noticed there are a lot of areas that people are making some mistakes in, so we want to get a little refresher on some of it. Please make sure you're watching the whole thing and ask questions and pause the video if you're not sure. First thing we talked about is factoring. Now remember, yes, you are making factor t's. Factoring expressions means you're trying to get it into that double bubble kind of thing, where we have x plus or minus a number, x plus or minus a number. And really what we're trying to do is get it into intercept form. That's what this is called. This is intercept form once I get numbers filled in here. That's what factoring does. It is not just this. Okay, that means you're factoring the number, but you're factoring an expression here. So please keep that in mind, that you're really trying to get it into intercept form. Now, I already kind of showed you part of it. What we're doing is, when we get it into intercept form, I need two numbers that not only multiply to get this, but also add up to get the middle number, or subtract, depending on the problem. So I still need the factors of 24, so start with 1 and 24 first. Next, try 2. If you don't know, type in 24 divided by 2 on your calculator. You should get 12. Next number is 3. 3 times 8 makes 24, so that one works. 4 is the next number, and that also works. Again, if you don't know your mental math, type in 24 divided by 4. You should get 6. The next number I could try would be 5, but if I type in 24 divided by 5 on my calculator, I get a decimal. Can't use decimals, so that one doesn't work. The next number I would use is 6, but since it's already over here, I don't want to repeat any numbers, so that one's done too. So these are the only factors of 24. Now remember, I'm trying to get two numbers, okay? The numbers need to multiply to 24, actually negative 24, but they also need to combine, so either adding or subtracting, to positive, it's a positive 5, okay, that number in the middle. And we talked about that at the beginning of the unit, that when I multiply all this stuff back, it multiplies to get this, and then the two middle terms have to combine to get that. Okay, well, everything here multiplies to get 24, so I already got that. If it's going to be negative, though, that can either be a positive times a negative or a negative times a positive. I can't do positive, positive, okay, because that makes a positive when I multiply, and I can't do negative times negative because that also makes a positive. So these are my only options, just keeping that in mind. Now the sign in front tells us whether I'm adding or subtracting to get 5. Because it's a negative sign, I need two numbers that subtract to 5. Okay, well 24 minus 1 equals 23, so that doesn't work. 12 minus 2 is 10, that doesn't work. 8 minus 3 equals 5, so that's probably going to be it. And 6 minus 4 is 2. So all those are gone. I know that it has to be 3 and 8. I just don't know what signs I'm using yet. Now, a fair amount of you did fairly well with getting the numbers. You knew it was 8 and 3, but we had a lot of issues with getting the signs correct. Again, remember, this has to multiply together to get 24. And I already pointed out that if it's negative 24, it has to either be positive times a negative or negative times a positive. That's my only options. So here are my choices. I could do positive 3 and negative 8, or a negative 3 and positive 8. That's it. Well, obviously both groups are going to multiply to get negative 24. However, I also said I needed it to combine to get positive 5. Okay? Well, what's positive 3 minus 8? That equals negative 5. Negative 3 plus 8 is positive 5. Well, which one am I trying to get, positive or negative 5? Up here you can see it's a positive 5x, so I want this one. So that means it's x minus 3 and x plus 8. And that's how I pick my answer. For this one, they don't want you to solve for x, so you can just leave it there. If you really want to check, you could do box method and multiply everything out. So x times x is x squared. X times 8 is 8x. Negative 3 times x is negative 3x. And I'll even write those out just so you can see them. Okay, that's that. And then negative 3 times positive 8 is negative 24. The only things I could put together are these middle terms. And that's how I get the 5x back. Okay, that's our whole goal, is we're creating something that could multiply to get this, our original equation, back. So that's how we got that answer. So I'm going to erase that to give myself some space. And then we're going to start the second one. Again, remember, my goal is I'm trying to get this double bubble, double parenthesis. So I'm just going to write it out to start with. If I see factor, I better have this somewhere ready to go. Okay, this time I'm doing the factor t for 48. Want to start off with 1 and 48. That's the easy one. If I type in 2 in my calculator, 48 divided by 2 is, let's see, 24. I had to do a little mental math there. 48 divides by 3 evenly as well, and I get 16. It also divides by 4, and I get 12. Doesn't divide into 5. 6 and 8 work. 7 would be the next number, but 7 does not go into it evenly. 8 comes afterwards, so I'm done. Okay, and again, this time I want two numbers that multiply to 48, but also combine to negative 16, because that's a number in the middle this time. Because it's positive 48, okay, they're going to add up to get 16. Just like here, this was subtraction, so it told me I was subtracting to get 5. Okay, well, what's 48 plus 1? That's 49. That doesn't work. 24 plus 2 is 26. Need 16. 16 plus 3 is 19. Doesn't work. 12 plus 4, that's 16. 8 plus 6 is 14. Doesn't work. So this is my only option. I know I got to use 4 and 12. All right, now, in order to get positive 48, I only have two options that are going to work. I can either do a positive times a positive, or a negative times a negative. Just like last time, I could only use those ones to get negative. This time I'm trying to get a positive. Okay, so I can either do positive 4 and positive 12, or negative 4 and negative 12. Notice this is adding and subtracting now. This isn't multiplying anymore. Okay, when I multiply them, I know I'm going to get 48, so that's fine. What's positive 4 plus 12? That gets me positive 16. Negative 4 minus 12 is negative 16. Well, which one am I trying to get, positive or negative? Look back at my problem, and it's negative 16, so both signs should be a subtraction sign. And then there's my answer. Again, if I was to multiply everything out, I would get my original, and that's how you check your work. X times x is x squared. Negative 4 times x is negative 4x. X times negative 12 is negative 12x. I apologize, my computer's off a little bit, so my writing is bad. Negative 4 times negative 12 is positive. I don't know why these letters are coming out weird. I'm sorry. This should be a 4. When you put these together, you get your negative 16. So it still comes out to the original. Okay, but this is your answer. That is what you're trying to get. Okay. All right. I'm going to do number 2 as well. So for this one, way too many people got this wrong, everyone. Honestly and truly. Just because it says zeros does not mean it needs to throw you off. You're looking for the x-intercepts. Remember, we talked about x-intercepts are on the x-axis, which means that all of their coordinates are something, comma, 0. It's always going to be that. It has to be if it's on the x-axis. That means that for it to be an x-intercept, y has to equal 0. Okay, so I'm going to bring this equation down and put 0 at the end. Literally just put 0 in the y spot. Okay, well, how do I make this equal 0? I got to figure out something that goes in that spot that makes this whole group equal 0. So split them up. You have x plus 3 can equal 0. That's one group. And you have x minus 4 equals 0. That's the other group. How do I get x by itself here? Subtract 3. And x equals negative 3. How do I do it over here? X minus 4, add 4 to both sides. And x equals positive 4. That is all you had to do to get a full credit on that one. Negative 3, positive 4. That was it. If you have questions on that, you need to make sure you ask a teacher, because this is the most basic part of this section. You have to be able to do this to do the rest of it. You need to understand that this translates to this. Okay? Feel free to ask for help. Make sure you get your notes copied, and feel free to add in any extra notes if you need.